Chapter 1 podcast, your inside look at the people powering the Charlotte business scene, real entrepreneurs, real stories right here in the Queen City. We're here with Mike Ritch of GLR Kitchen and Bath Design.
Correct.
And it's a mouthful. I nailed it though. I kept mixing up the first letters. We're happy to have you on the show. Let's start at Chapter 1, Mike. Tell me how you found your way here to Charlotte. What brought you to Charlotte?
Awesome, man. I'm actually one of the very few that's actually from Charlotte.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I was born in Charlotte, went to East Mac High School. It was a cold Wednesday morning in 1987. No, I'm originally from Charlotte, grew up here, went to elementary school, middle school, high school here, graduated. Kind of went out on my own. Next thing you know, I moved to Denver, Colorado in like 2009.
Oh, wow.
Went out there just because needed a, fresh slate, kind of check out the world. Lived up there for about 15 years and then moved back here about 3 years ago.
Awesome.
Met my wife up there. We got married last year. I have a 3-year-old. She was born in Colorado, so wanted to come back home, join the fam, and just kind of raise her here in the South and, be with family.
So you got a little experience moving outside of Charlotte. Is there something about Charlotte that you've liked, you kind of got a new perspective for, having lived somewhere else, or?
I think so. So, Southern hospitality is a real thing. You start, and I've traveled kind of everywhere. I've been to, California. I've been to the Northwest, obviously in Denver, Northeast. Been kind of all over the place in the U.S., and there's nothing quite like that Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
Whether it be food, whether it be people holding the door for you, small conversations, whether it's at a coffee place or a bar, just kind of looking over to that person and just knowing that you can have a legit conversation with someone and really get to know someone kind of just shows me how great Southern hospitality is.
So tell me a little bit about your professional journey. So obviously you do design and remodeling type stuff now, but tell me about like your first job and kind of how it eventually led to what you're doing now.
So my first job was actually at Bob Evans, a restaurant.
Not the university, the restaurant.
Yeah.
I always get this confused.
Yeah. So I was a dishwasher, busser, kind of started doing that. I think I was 15 years old. So I started doing that as my first job just to kind of get some money to save up for, wasting it. And then I really did enjoy the culinary aspect of it. So got, promoted to like a line cook. I've always enjoyed cooking for people, but that kind of, sparked that interest a little bit more. So I stayed in the restaurant industry for 20 years almost. I've done everything you could possibly think of in the restaurant industry, all the way from washing dishes to being a partner at a restaurant and kind of running the whole entire operation in a multi-unit level.
Wow.
So when I moved out to Colorado, I really kind of dove in, and I was, a partner for Bonefish Grill for 10 years out there. I ran a couple ones out there. And then I really got a great opportunity from a company based out of Seattle called Hops and Drops. They just had a really great vision of taking care of their people and kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of develop people a lot more, which is like really my passion. I like to develop people into, adult roles, I guess you would say, kind of getting those people that are coming in and then developing them into being either whether it be an entrepreneur or whatever they're going into the next phase in their life. I really kind of enjoy that. So full-blown restaurant industry for a long time and just really love the customer service side of it. I think food is one thing, got to serve good food, but having like a great customer service experience is really the back end of that.
Yeah. Well, how did that lead you to doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, great question. So my buddy Nick, he's the founder of GLR, and he's our licensed general contractor. He started GLR back in Denver in 2005. So he went to a trade school in high school, graduated high school, and then immediately started GLR. He was a mason, did a lot of tile work, and then became a general contractor. So he's been running the business for about 20 years. His wife, Samantha, who is also one of the owners, she's from the Concord, Kannapolis area. So it's kind of wild that we met each other, and then I met Nick probably 15 years ago, and then his now wife is from here. I'm from here. So they moved back here 2019, 2018.
Okay.
And brought the business back with him. And of course, I had been talking to Nick, and I was talking about moving my family back here to be closer to family, and everything just kind of worked out to where I had a vision, he had a vision, and he wanted to carry this brand a lot farther than where it was at the time. So we kind of collaborated and said, hey, let's bring me in on the sales part and really drive the sales and the vision part of the business, and here we are today.
Wow. So you like the sales part, huh?
Oh, I love it. I'm people.
Yeah.
I like that's my passion. If you throw me into a room of 1,000 people, I'll walk out with 999 of them being my friends.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I enjoy being thrown into an uncomfortable situation with people I don't know. And I just like striking up conversations and kind of building relationships. And honestly, that's what every single business is about. It's about, building a foundation of trust and building relationships. And there's 1,000 different remodeling companies out there, but not everyone does, the customer service side of it and does the full turnkey with the experience. And that's what I like to offer.
Well, it sounds like for a lot of the people we talk with, that networking is kind of that first step when you have something, you start off and you say, hey, I've got this idea or I've got this thing that I want to do for myself. I think people might want it. And then it's like, well, how do I find those people or how do they find me? And networking is kind of that first foot in the door. How about you guys? Are there other avenues of marketing that you're taking advantage of? Like, how are you guys getting customers?
Yeah, I think we're doing the things that everyone does. We've got the little bit of Google going on. We've got the Facebook going on. We've got the social media platforms and all those things. I'm a really big fan of the boots on the ground.
Yeah.
We're in a it's called the National Association of Remodeling Industry. It's called NARI. So it's just a group of contractors, designers, and everybody in kind of the remodeling industry.
Sure.
And meeting a lot of people through there. So we have a different kind of side of things. We do remodeling, full turnkey, focusing on kitchens and bathrooms. But we also build custom cabinetry. So we have a custom cabinet.
Oh, wow.
We have a custom cabinet shop in Kannapolis where we're building everything by hand, skilled craftsmen, solid lumber. So we have a different kind of aspect on things where we want to work with other contractors. We want to work with other builders and designers because we're trying to keep the trade alive, the skilled craftsman trade alive when in a world right now where everything is just like disposable things where, you buy a set of cabinets and next thing you know, in 5 or 10 years, they're falling apart and you got to rip them down, throw them away. And we're just trying to really rebrand that industry of, hey, we can build things that last.
Yeah.
And you don't have to trash everything every couple of years and start over. We can build things that last and just trying to keep that trade, mindset alive.
Yeah. Well, what does the process typically look like when you do find that interested person, they reach out through Google or Facebook, or you meet them at networking and they've got some, what is from, A to Z, how does that process look like for you guys?
Yeah. So, we'll get a phone call, I'll take their phone call and say, hey, what exactly are you looking for? Let's talk about, your wants, your needs, what your timeline is, kind of the small things. And we'll say, hey, why don't you come into our design studio? We'll sit down with myself. We'll sit down with our designer. And we'll really kind of engulf them into our design studio so they can, number one, kind of see what our work looks like. And number two, lay everything out on the table. You got a person that comes in and say, hey, I want a full kitchen remodel. Great. You want cabinets? You want flooring? You want countertops, backsplash? There's a lot of different moving parts in there. Let's get all those things listed out. And then we're going to talk about when you want this done. Most of the time, I want it done tomorrow. Well, not very realistic. So we kind of, look at a calendar, figure out what a good spot is, and then we talk about the budget, right? Remodels can go from anywhere from a couple $1,000 up to a couple $100,000. Everything is different. We sell light switches that are $20. We sell light switches that are $350. There's just a really broad range of certain things, and figuring out that budget is how you identify what that client wants.
Yeah.
It's not to squeeze every single penny out of them. Right. It's to kind of figure out the direction that they want to go. So once we bring them in, we'll talk about the timeline. We'll talk about the budget. We'll get aligned. hey, this aligns with what we want to do, aligns with what you want to do. Let's schedule a time to go out to your house. We'll do a LiDAR scan. We'll scan your entire space, and then we'll take some measurements, and then we'll be able to build that proposal. We'll do your flooring, your backsplash, your cabinets, and kind of list all of these things out. And here's a really good, solid estimate of what we think that we can do your project for. We'll sit down, we'll slide the proposal over, and what we'll do is, so Corey is our designer. She went to school for design at Western Carolina. She interned with us last summer. A phenomenal person, phenomenal architect, designer, just the full package. She'll draw up a 3D rendering, and so they'll come in, we'll have their entire space of what we can build it to make it look like. We'll have it up on our 100-inch TV. It'll be a full immersive 3D rendering with all the materials in it, the flooring, the way the cabinets look, the colors, everything that they can see. This is what your exact space will look like. We haven't even swung a hammer yet.
Wow.
So we really try to get that experience for them, saying, hey, this is what it can look like. Do you love it? Do you hate it?
Right.
Do you want to change this? Do you want to change that? And we can make those decisions prior to going into your house, and we don't want to find out too late where, oh, you really don't like this wall being
right.
So that experience right there is what I was kind of, chatting about. So we'll give them the proposal. We'll have them look at the rendering. Oh my God, this looks great. I love this. Let's do this. We'll schedule them out. We'll get the deposit down, and then we'll set up multiple design meetings to where, you come in, Corey will have all the materials laid out, the colors, the paint, the swatches, and all the things laid out on our table, and we'll really design that with them as an experience instead of sending them out on their own. Like, all right, go pick a paint color,
right?
Go pick your own backsplash, go pick your own, because it's so overwhelming in this industry. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of options of different things. We want to make this experience fun and not stressful. So we try to take the brunt of the stress and really minimize the decision-making process for the client to where they can actually enjoy it, So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what we do.
What are some of the big misconceptions, like when you actually do those sit-down meetings? What's the first thing that you're like, this is typically always where they go, and we kind of have to reprogram that a little bit? Because I feel like it's got to be budget, right? Is that typically it, or are there other things?
I would say the most common thing is budget, and I think it's just not being educated, and that's what we try to do. We try to educate, our client way before we sit down at that table and I give them a proposal. I feel like I have a really good idea of what's the things that you want and what we can provide. I have a good idea of a budget range. If you come in and you want a $100,000 kitchen with a $10,000 budget, it's just not going to be a great fit for us. And we try to eliminate that respectfully, saying, hey, I think this is great. I really loved having a conversation, but I don't think that we're a great fit for each other. Here's some of my contacts, and let me see if I can find somebody else that might be a better fit for you.
Sure.
And that happens a lot, and I think that goes back to networking, right? Like filling your circle in with a bunch of different people. And I think people respect if I don't, if maybe we're not the right fit, maybe I do know someone that I trust,
right?
That I can forward to you, because I do respect your time, I do respect your money, I respect all the things that you're doing, and I still want to help. It's just maybe it's not a great fit for something that we can help you with.
Sure. And you might have mentioned some of these things already, but these things that you're talking about, are those things that I typically would find at any design place? Are there unique elements that you guys bring that you think maybe we couldn't find going to other people doing similar things?
I think so, especially on the cabinetry side.
Okay.
Since we do build everything in-house, we have a lot of different vendors that other contractors use, of course. There's specific paint colors that you can select with us. But I think our job as general contractors is to select the best, and present the best, depending on, your style, your budget, and all those different things. And really to minimize the stress and to minimize the having to go places and look for things, is we try to bring that to the table for you, I guess is what we're looking to do.
So what part of the whole process do you love the most? I mean, you mentioned people, obviously, but you get to do a bunch of different things in the role you're in. What is it that you love the most about it?
I like the education piece.
Yeah.
I honestly, you mentioned, so I love meeting people. You know, you meet all different types of people in this industry, whether they go with you or whether they don't. I think just having good conversations with people, and you get to really see what different styles that people have. Like some people you would meet and they have, you know, a weird color palette. Like this, you know, I want bright green with gold handles and this, and it's just a different, it's kind of like a different kind of watch that people wears, or a different kind of car that someone drives, or you kind of can tell a lot about someone from the design area that they go to. And who doesn't love the final product reveal? You know, having someone look at their space and come in and see it completely relive, you know, just the look and the way that people leave reviews saying, hey, you completely changed the way that I like to live in my house. You know, you've really changed how I feel when I'm in my kitchen. I cook at home all the time now. I love, you know, soaking in this brand new bathtub, and like, you really just enjoy that. And you see the passion that people have, and it's a house, you know, but it's your house, and to make someone happy to live in their own home, there's nothing like it, you know.
Right. Well, if you were to talk to somebody who's, you know, doesn't have to be in your same field, but maybe somebody who's making that transition from, hey, I'm working from somebody else to I'm kind of doing my own thing now, what's a piece of advice you would give somebody like that you've learned over your years of doing what you're doing?
Process. You have to have systems and processes in place, no matter what business I think that you're in. You know, there's, you know, the trial and error thing will only get you so far. And when are you gonna sit down and take a look in the mirror and say, hey, how can I get better? How can I make this business better? And it all comes down to process. You're gonna make mistakes. You know, we've made 100 of them. You know, it's how do you go back, you know, and look in the mirror and say, hey, what could I have done differently to make the process better? And I can't stress that enough, especially in this industry. Whether it's the initial phone call, the way you present, the vendors that you work with, it's all about finding good people, working with good people, and, you know, establishing trust within your own circle so you can project that to your clients.
Awesome. Mike, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. If somebody was wanting to reach out to you guys and get connected, how could they get connected with you?
GLR Kitchen and Bath Design on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We do some pretty cool videos on TikTok. And, please feel free to reach out. Love to have you at our design studio and check out what we do.
Awesome. And I'm Greg Prinz, host of the Chapter 1 podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Links below. And until next time, this is the Chapter 1 podcast.